Welcome to the Drawing Solo podcast. My name is Mason McKinney, and I'm with.
Midorijen.
And if you want to find out how to get inspiration from anywhere, make sure you sign up to my newsletter and get a free ebook that'll show you how to do so. My gift to you. So, Muddy, you say? Is that how you
Uh,
pronounce your name?
Midori.
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 Okay, nice. Where are you from?
I'm from Czech Republic.
Ah, nice. What do you create?
I do manga and YouTube a bit.
Manga and YouTube. Tell us a little bit about that. Well, tell us about a little bit about the manga side and the YouTube side.
Well, for manga, that's what I would love to do, like for a career. That's probably gonna take a while, so I'm doing a bit of YouTube as well. But with YouTube, I'm doing like normal art videos kind of thing, not really focused on the manga. And for the manga, I do a little series called Lifestyle.
Okay. So it's like the manga and the YouTube thing two completely separate things, or does the YouTube boost the manga's notoriety, or maybe just figuring things out as you go?
I guess I'm still figuring stuff out because I don't really know what I want to do with the YouTube much yet. I mostly I always like catch a thing like last time I caught that writing on a wall meme, animation meme kind of thing it was, and I just caught it, made a short, and that got quite the attention, so that like boosted the channel a bit, and then it just lays flat again, and I need to figure out something else.
For the audience, can you explain what a animation meme is?
Animation meme is something like when you have normal memes, like normal pictures, but this time it's like you take a song, like part of a song, and you just animate something on the song, and if it like gains enough attention, other people start copying or like memeing it, just reposting it with their own animation and stuff. So that's the thing basically.
So it's like a way for smaller artists or artists in general can find a way to market themselves and within that
Yes.
own community.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's, I guess, the easiest quote unquote way because the animation takes time, but it's one of the easiest ways to get like noticed as an artist, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah, how do you feel about artists, such ways for artists to gain notoriety? Like, do you feel like artists need to participate in animation memes in order to get notoriety? And how do you feel about animation memes and as a whole as a way to gain an audience?
I think that really depends because you kind of have to be. It's not like it was in like 2016, where animation memes could be like done by pretty much everybody and it just got attention. Because now it's like it's not as popular as it was, but at the same time, it will get popular if you make it good. It just needs to look good, like catch the attention, you know. And if you can't animate, that's gonna be like a problem, you know. And I personally don't think it's for everybody. I think it's for people who just like know at least a little bit about animation. I'm no pro in animation. I animated like only like anime intro as my graduation project, and that was it, and then this. So I don't know much. I just know the basics, but it just has to like move, you know, not just slideshow kind of thing.
Yeah, I get you. Tell us a little bit about your YouTube journey.
I started this channel around 1st of January. Yeah, this year, not last year, this year. Uh, it's a new channel. I had a channel before that, but that kind of came crashing down. Um, I'm not gonna go much into that, but yeah, I kind of crashed the channel before once. But this new channel, I just started making like art videos. Like I made a VTuber. I made some art challenges. I tried using AI to like create something that is actually mine, like like inspiration kind of thing. I did, yeah, the animation memes. Those are the most popular thing on the channel. And then I made a video that I'm very like proud of, which is a video where I talk about different websites for webcomics and mangas and stuff like that, to like show that there is more than just tapas and webtoon. And that video didn't do so well at the start, but it actually started growing bigger and bigger as time went. So now it's like one of my top 5 or something. So I'm really happy about that.
Without spoiling too much of the video that you're mentioning, what are some of the what would you say are some of the benefits and the drawbacks of posting on a webcomic hosting site opposed to making your own site to host your
I
webcomics?
I never made my own site for a comic. I I guess I could, because I have requalified myself, because I'm kind of jobless at the moment. So I requalified myself to a Java web programmer. So I probably could, if I wanted to, like make a website from absolute scratch. But I just never really did, simply because I just have no idea how to get the people there without paying for advertisements somewhere. Except my YouTube channel, but my YouTube channel is still like small, so that's that's not gonna really cut it. So I never really did that, so I cannot really compare the two much.
Okay, there's always room for growth. So, since we're on the topic of our web comics, tell us about the works that you create in 7 words or less.
Well, I have 7 words for a lifestyle, but for the other 9, I kinda don't. So I'm gonna say the one for lifestyle. It's a mystery comedy horror inspired by Dead Note. That's how I would describe Lifestyle. Yeah.
Oh, what are some Death Note elements that are heavily inspired in your comic?
Well, Dead Note, by how I uh, see it, or how I analyzed it, is uh, is a little bit of a detective story. It's not really like a huge police crime kind of thing. It's just like a little detective, but not that much. And it deals with something quote unquote out of this world, like a power, or the shinigamis, the gods of death, the things like that. So I wanted to make something similar, because I really like crime stuff, true crime. I listen to a lot, and I also like I really like Dead Note by how unique it is. So I wanted a power, and I wanted something criminal, but I also have a problem that I have to have comedy in it, because if I don't, I don't know. I just cannot write something that is entirely serious. That's just not something that I was ever able to write. So I added that in, so it became more of a normal crime story that is happening on a police station, with a power that they never saw, with a case that nobody ever saw or solved, and it's just something out of this world as well. So that's the Dead Note elements that I pretty much put into this story. But other than that, it's gonna be pretty different.
What appeals to you about true crime?
I
Like,
don't know. I was always really fascinated with gory stuff and the grim stuff, like the murders for sure. I'm not like I don't know, one of those fan girls that are like, oh my god, Jeffrey Dahmer or what. No way. But I'm like, okay, this is interesting. How did they solve this crime? How did they do this? How does the crime work, like at the police station, or how the forensic science? How does it all work? How do they figure these things out? And I really was like really interested in these things, so I thought like it would be nice to like make the manga about them too.
so it's the more of the appeal of how people can make sense of chaos. Some sort of chaos that we don't see in everyday life. And I guess you would say that murder shouldn't be an everyday thing because we don't experience, like, I guess depending on like what place you live in the world, murder isn't like an everyday thing. And when it does happen in in a in a safe place, it is a nice little mystery to see what would cause somebody to end another man's life, or how something chaotic can form within a safe environment. Am I somewhere around the ballpark of trying to make sense of that?
Yeah, I think you got it quite right. Like making sense of the chaos, or making sense of something that you have never seen, or like new disease. Like when the COVID happened, it was like everybody was freaking out. What the hell is going on? And stuff. It's something similar, a bit similar to that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, what would you like to see more in your creative field?
Like from other authors, I suppose, or not.
It's what draws you to create and what I notice when people create some things, it's out of a need of, or a want of, hey, I wish more people would talk about X, Y, and Z, and I'm here to fill that role of that interest because I notice a lot of similarities with the people I talk to. They want to make that change of the entertainment that they see, and that's why they create. So I guess I would say, to like rephrase the question, is why what compels you to what compels you to create? Like what made these topics so interesting to you that you want to put it out there in a field of other creative with other creatives, I suppose, for lack of a better word.
Well, first let's start like how I started creating, or why I create. Um, I was 9 years old when I started writing books. I literally learned how to write at school and just went for it because I always like had this fantasy in imagination, and I just wanted to write. I don't know. I didn't do it because I wanted to get published when I was 9. Of course, I did do that when I was like 12 because that's what normal authors do, kind of. But then I started to get like bored of the books. Like I cannot imagine characters when you describe them to me. I will have no idea how they look like because of how many I don't know, shapes of eyes they can have, how many noses they can have, how many lips they can have, you know. I just cannot imagine them if I don't see them beforehand. So that's why the books were like, not really the thing. So I started like looking for something else. I was thinking about normal comics, but for some reason that wasn't that the thing that I wanted to do. And then I was just sick when I was 14 years old, I think. I was literally just sick and in my bed, and I was like, I'm so bored. Like, I want to watch something. And then I remembered that anime exists, and I just went on a site that's dead now, but, anime piracy, that Crunchyroll wasn't really a thing back then, I don't think. So I just went and watched Dead Note. That was the first thing that popped up, and I watched Dead Note, and then I was like, this is what I want to do. And yeah, of course, the publishing. I want to get published. I want to get like out there this way. And if it's not gonna be through normal publisher, I have experienced how the printing process works in my country and how the publishing process works, kind of, with my old work that I had as a graduation project. And through that, I can like make some money or use some money I have saved up and just go for it by myself, I guess. And as for why I create now, except the thing that I want that is to get published, is that I'm just bored. Like, I've read the same story 1,000 times. I literally everything I can read, I can predict what happens next. And it's just so annoying. I just want to read something that will surprise me, that will blow my mind, that will just be something that I can look forward to, because I'm not like, that's gonna end this way. This is gonna continue this way. And it just does. So that's kind of also why I'm creating, because I just want to create something that goes differently than everything else.
Okay. How can how would you, how would I phrase this? How can people create new stories?
Well, personally, how can people create new stories is quite a tough question, because everybody does their stories a little bit different, but there are always those little plot points. Like, let's say, for example, what I really liked to read when I was young were some romance stories, yeah. And in those stories, it always went like this: interesting start with interesting premise that had two characters that just fell for each other somehow. And the way they did that, and the way they fell for each other, was interesting. But once they became a thing, a ship, it always was like misunderstanding after misunderstanding, or argument after argument, or like they just split and then they came together and then they didn't talk to each other. But if they did talk to each other, it would be resolved. Like, this is a thing I really did not like about this romance thing, so I just stopped reading that. With horror, it's always like a character meets something scary and dies pretty much, or that there's like this thing. That's why I love really like Junji's Ito work, or manga in general, because it seems to me that they can go like bonkers with it, and they just, I don't know, the first brain fart that came to their head, they just slap on the paper. Not Junji Ito. Junji Ito, in my opinion, is it has it very thought through. But some of the mangas I've read or seen were really crazy, and I just couldn't predict them. Like right now, I'm reading Tokyo Revengers, and that is I just cannot predict that, so I'm like really happy about it. But some mangas I read, I just predict. I'm like, yeah, this is going to go this way, and that's just annoying. But how can people do that? It's just go bonkers. Don't hold yourself to like one thing that you see everywhere and quote unquote that's how a story should be written. No, just blow your mind off and come up with something crazy, because that's, in my opinion, the best thing.
Why do you think people follow so many tropes?
I think it's because they do well. Like I made a romance kind of thing when I was young, like 16 or something. I made on tapas. It's still there. I'm not remembering it fondly, to be honest, but yeah, it's still there. And I've gained. It was like some demon thing about like demon and angel kind of thing. Really, really tropey stuff. And I've gained 2,800 subs there from that, and I was literally just, I don't know, I was literally just doing stuff. I didn't really plan for it to like go anywhere. I was like, yeah, I wanted to learn how to make webcomic. That wasn't a manga at first. It was a webcomic, and I just did stuff, and it just did well because it was just something that people were there to read or expected to read, which is just some really tropey things. So I think that's why.
It sounds like a lot of people have a lot of comfort when it comes to tropes in a way from the writer's perspective and the audience's perspective because it's something that's familiar to them. And as creatures of habit, as human beings, when we see something happening again and again and again, it enforces not enforce well yeah it enforces, I guess that's a good word. It enforces a sort of familiarity, some sort of status quo. And when something is too different from what we are used to or what we suspect, that would be like a quick turn off to the large audience because people like want something new, but at the same time they want something the same, but it fed to them in a new way. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think if that I cannot think that depends on the audience. If you're a teenager, that let's be real, most of webtoon tapas it's hormonal teenagers, and they want to see what they already know, because what they already quote unquote know is kind of still new to them because they are teenagers. They don't have the life experience. They don't have they didn't read that much stuff. But I think once you grow older, you start to get bored, especially of those things that are aimed for teenagers, like those romances on tapas or webtoon. You just start to get bored of that because you just see it everywhere, and then you start to look at something different. I don't know, it kind of depends on the person. Somebody likes the romance thing, somebody likes horrors, somebody likes mystery, sci-fi and stuff like that. But in that case, I think those older people would look more, not really on the webcomic sites, but more on the official publications, because those are, I don't I'm not gonna say they are different from each other. Like a lot of shonens are very similar, but you have much more chance to find something unique than in popular webtoons, for example.
So, wait, rephrase that one more time. So, so I can internalize. So I can internalize it.
Oh, sorry, I ended up rambling so much. Okay, I just wanted to say that when you are teenager, when you are a young person, you tend to read the same thing over and over again because it's served to you and you don't have the money to buy something better, pretty much. Like on the webtoons, if you look at the a page that will welcome you when you just a homepage, yeah, that's what it's called, homepage. You see all of these stories about villainesses or these kind of things that look
Like, oh yeah,
one like the
yeah.
other, you know.
Yeah, it's like, oh, there's a prince and she's looking. There's a princess and she's looking for a cool little prince, and but she's but here's a twist. She's really a cool princess, and she doesn't. But like the prince is kind of cooler, and she wants him to yada yada yada. But then there's this whole back and forth. But they all like love you, but they both like love each other and whatnot. Like things like surface level premises that captures the a surface level audience intention. But what do you think would be the best way to give people something new, entice them with people that are familiar with the old and they like the old? But if you were tasked to give these people something that looks old, but within it, give them like a Trojan horse, an old Trojan horse, but give them something new within that Trojan horse. What would be the best way? How would you tackle it? How would you tackle it?
Well, that kind of depends. You might like give me a trope or something, and maybe I can come up with something that will twist it. But
Let's say
yeah,
romance, the age old trope. Guy meets girl. Guy thinks girl's out of her league, and girl doesn't know that the guy is right for her, so she goes out with a guy that's not good for her, but she feels like the bad boy is what's gonna fulfill the her need for a more chaotic figure in her life to make her life feel more exciting. But when she realizes that it was the stable, good guys that she needed this entire time, like how would you subvert that trope? I feel like I've seen it, and at least I've seen like several memes of a trope like that several times.
yeah, that's possible. Well, yeah. First, I think I would probably troll it very hard, like fill it with comedy and stuff. And then at the end, I would just put the two guys together, and the girl would be her own power woman, you know, or something like that. I would just troll it like this. I wouldn't troll it.
Uh, so
Let's
the
say
so both of the
I
guys are
wouldn't.
like, "Oh, hey, you're actually kind of cool," and like, "Yeah, you're cool too," and they just like become best friends. They just forget about the girl.
Yeah, best friends or boyfriends or
Yeah.
whatever, and the girl will be just happy, just alone or with some of her friends or something, or with other guy, you know, that just showed up in the middle of the series, or I don't know. Just I would probably like troll it so hard because that this is a story that I would probably never write myself. So yeah.
Like, what would you see tropes in stories that you would write?
Ooh, well, I really like when you have a main character like Naruto, for example, like that goofy goober kind of character, or like I wouldn't say Emma from Promised Neverland because she is maybe too much of a goody two shoes. I like characters like Naruto that are like a bit selfish. Like when he was at the start of the series, I don't know if you watched Naruto from the beginning or if you watched it at
Yeah,
all, but
yeah, I've seen it.
he,
I've seen Naruto.
yeah,
Yeah.
you've seen it. Yeah, yeah, good. Then he was quite selfish at the start. Like he wanted to be Hokage because he wanted to prove that he is actually like the best or stuff. And then as the series progressed, he started to care more for other people and the village as a whole. But well, in my stories, it's a little bit different. The characters are just a bit more selfish. it's comedic. But yeah, I like the main character that is like this fun, cheerful kind of guy, and that's something like Naruto was, or how I wouldn't say Deku. Deku is also a bit too nice, but you get what I mean. Like this type of main character, I like those, and yeah, it's tropey, but I kind of use it. I like it.
Mm. How would you like subvert those tropes so people who are familiar with it can get something new, something that you would like?
Well, the first thing is also that I have. That's why I said that Deku or Emma are too nice,
Mm-hmm.
because in my work, or for example in Lifestyle, the characters are very apathetic towards
Apathetic. Okay.
like the victims, the dead. They don't really. They are so used to seeing dead people that they don't really care anymore. That's one thing. And the other thing is that's a little bit spoilery though, but that the main characters of Lifestyle, which is Kohana, that he is also doing it for himself more so than others. He's still that cheerful kind of guy that just is nice, but he doesn't do what he does for others. He does it for himself, and that is what I like on Dead Note too. I really love L, and he is
Mm-hmm.
doing good things. He's trying to catch Kira, but he is doing it to win. He's not doing it for anybody or for the great good. He's doing it for himself, and that's how I twist those characters pretty much.
It's interesting because like you're seeing like a lot of more stories of characters acting within their own self-interest over acting within, oh, I'm going to do good things because it's because for goodness sake, like you were seeing. I feel like we're seeing more stories like Chainsaw Man of where characters are just they want to do things because hey, it's convenient for them. What do you think about this kind of change in storytelling that changes from doing something that's extrinsically good to the main characters doing what is good because because I wouldn't say the plot demands it from him, or why are they doing something that is more convenient for them over doing something that's extrinsically good? Do you have any thoughts on that?
I think it makes them more of of an actual human to the reader, because uh if you are doing something, like there are people that do things for the greater good, but there is few of them. There is not that many of them. The majority of people always do something because of something they want or because of something they need, and not just for the greater good. And I think when you read something from a perspective of a protagonist that does something for himself or herself instead of doing it for the others, I think that makes the character way more human, and it at the end the character still did good.
Mm-hmm.
The intentions in that case, quote unquote, shouldn't really matter, because I don't know, they saved lives or something. Those people are alive. Those people don't care if that person saved them because they wanted, I don't know, that girl over there or that guy over there or that money over there. They care that they are alive. So that doesn't really matter in the quote unquote storytelling perspective. It just makes them more human.
what would you say? I think what you said when it came to writing characters that feel more human over characters that represent more of an idealistic good or bad. Do you think that I guess I would ask, is there some sort of balance or something we can take from characters who strive for like an idealistic good, or I guess a short-sighted idealistic good, sort of morality within their characters or in the terms of storytelling, if you understand what I'm talking about.
If I understood right, you're asking if characters that are the morally correct characters like Deku,
Yeah.
what can we learn from them, or why are they good?
Yeah, like I feel like people still feel something when it comes to, they still like are attached to Deku, even though nobody can relate to Deku. Well, I wouldn't say nobody, but people can see Deku and they can understand what he wants to do, even though we might see very little people like that in reality. But their goals of just wanting to be good because good is good. But do you think there's like something that more people can learn from that storytelling outside of looking at a sort of me type of character,
Well, of
a
course,
self-centered character?
I think people can learn more empathy from that. They can learn to be more helpful to others. Of course, when you are a child, of course, if you watch My Hero Academia as a 30-year-old, like, you're not gonna learn much. But when you're a kid and you just watch it, and you're like, oh my god, this character is so cool. He's helping all those grandmas over there, for example. Then you go and you can go and help some grandmas too, when you see like some grandma carrying heavy bags on the street or something. I think it's good. I'm not saying those characters are bad. They are just not something for me personally.
Yeah, just different strokes for different folks, as the saying goes. I'm finding less and less people who heard about how that saying, and it's really pretty weird to me. But it is what it is. I remember earlier in the conversation you said you've been writing back when you were 9. Like, what kind of things were you into? Like, what made you want to, like, what got you into writing? Just like from such an early age.
Well, I really like to read. When I was young, I still do like to read. When I find a good book, I found a good book not too long ago, and I really enjoy reading it. But now I have book that I hate, but I have to read it, or I can't read anything else because that's my rule. So I'm suffering. But anyway,
Wait,
I
you read books that you hate?
I bought it, so I have to read it. That's a rule.
Oh, really? Like, what?
Yeah.
Are you comfortable with talking about like what book is that at the moment?
Yeah, it's I don't remember the name. It's in my bag right now. I always like read books or mangas when I go outside, and I have to wait for something because being on phone is boring for me. So I'm just reading a book there, and I have read all the mangas that I have. So now I'm back to this book that I'm reading for over 2 years, and I always read a few pages and I'm just dying. And it's about drug trafficking and stuff, but it's
Okay.
written in a way where you don't really get too much attached to the characters, or like you understand their motivations, but you're like, I don't know why I should care about you. Like, you're so hollow, and I'm like reading it, and I'm like, I'm reading it just because I have to read it, pretty much right now. So yeah, it's just drug trafficking kind of thing. That there was some torture that was kind of interesting, but other than that,
Kind of cool.
honestly,
I don't know. Yeah. That's so funny. What's the most important lesson or a few important things that you've learned from reading your library? Just like through writing technique or just through life in general? Like from the broadest of the broad to like the niches of the niche that is only interesting to you. What are some of the things that you've picked up from your library that either impacted you by how you lived your life day to day or how you create?
Mm, like, I have to say that the first thing that like heavily impacted me that I watched was the Dead Note. But from the books, I am not very easily impacted. I just read books that I enjoyed because I had fun. I don't really remember many of what I read. I had like a lot of books at home. My grandma had a lot of books, but I don't really remember any of the books I read. I just know I enjoyed them, and I don't know why, pretty much. But it didn't really affect me that much when it comes to writing, because I was writing a book that was about Pegasuses, pretty much, but I never really read anything about Pegasuses. I just found horses with wings cool. So that was like my first book, I think. Then I wrote a book um about witches. That was inspired by Harry Potter. I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote a book about witches, but that is oh yeah, then I wrote books in my emails when I was like 12 about demons and stuff, like really basic stuff, and that was inspired by something on Wattpad. So
Okay.
yeah, but I really don't remember anything that would impact me very much. I was like, oh yeah, cool thing that I kind of like, so I'm just going to write something similar, and that was about it. Yeah.
So it's kind of following the. I guess you find yourself in the position of being the people enjoying the tropes as just as in passing time. So you just pick up a book, you read it, you don't know why you like it, and then you move on to the next thing, right?
Kind of. Yeah. It was more like that story wasn't the thing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't like drawn to it. I wasn't like fascinated by it. I wasn't like, this is like the only thing like this. Like I was with Dead Note. This is the only thing that is like this, and there is nothing else that is like this. And that's why I like it, you know. I like Dead Note because there is just nothing really like that, and that's why it really fascinates me. But with books, I never really found anything that I was like that. Yeah, I don't know if that makes sense.
What are some of the things that we can learn through Death Note?
Well, for me, it was the different way it was done from anything else that I have seen. It was like it was also my first anime that I was like watching, and I knew it was anime. I watched some Pokemon on TV when I was young, of course. I watched some Jewel Pets. I watched some stuff that was just on TV, but I wasn't like looking for the anime like in it. But this time I was, and it's very hard to explain because I really like, of course I really like the characters. I really like the inner I'm
Yeah,
not
the
gonna say the word.
yeah the inner monologue, the
Yeah,
how
that one.
characters rationalize what they see or what actions they do.
Yeah, and also one of the most drawing things for me was L as a character, because I'm autistic, and I was really relating to him by just he was just this weird guy who just had this one little sitting positions and this one little like thing that he just eats sweets all the time. And I was relating to him because I also have like I'm not gonna say one sitting position like that, but in this sense I am a bit similar to him when it comes to just being odd, being weird. At the time I didn't know I was autistic. I got diagnosed when I was 18, so yeah, kind of late, but anyways, it was like first time I have ever seen a character that I was relating to this much, and it was also like kind of eye opening to me that there are characters like this, and I can write characters that are like this, or not, but just exactly like L, but
Like
more like
not
me.
afraid to not show emotion. People seeing things just how it is and learning how to navigate through the circumstances.
Yeah, exactly. I literally, because I have hard time with, or I had when I was younger. I'm better at it now, but I had a really hard time with empathy and with people in general, and it just helped me like understand that it's not something like terrible, like that I can like learn it, and I have learned how to navigate through people uh through logic. So I really like I really like that note because of how logical it is, because I am very logical person. I am not really emotional. I am not really very empathetic. Except when it comes to animals. Like with animals, I am, but with people, it's kind of hard for me. Uh, so this was just something for me. It's just very logical, and I'm logical, and I just learn to navigate people and emotions through logic. It's weird to say, I know, but that's how it was.
This is kind of a weird question because I feel like a lot of people will be like, "Well, why would I ask this?" But why Why do you say you feel more attached to animals than you do other people?
I think animals are not gonna scream at me. Except
Like,
when like
except for
a cat
dogs,
wants
that
food, you know.
yeah, except for
He's gonna meow.
dogs, yeah, they're just gonna bark at you. 'Cause they don't you don't really
Yeah.
know. A lot of animals, except for I don't know, fish, would bark at you, would like scream at you.
But I'm not
But
really
yeah,
scared like when a dog barks at me. Well, unless it's like running at me about to bite my ass, but
of course, yes.
I'm not really terrified when I like go next to a fence and there is just this dog just slamming into the fence, barking his head off. You know,
Yeah,
I'm like, okay, bro, I'm just walking through. Like, leave me alone.
trying to live
But
my life. Yeah, trying to live my life,
yeah,
bro.
yeah, exactly. But when it's like a person, I can predict animals better, much better than I can predict people. I know when dog wags his tail, he's happy. You know, when cat hisses, he's or she's mad. You know, but with people, it's like they can lie. They can like make a face just for something. They can be sly. They can do all this stuff. Yeah, I'm kind of untrusting when it comes to people, but with animals, they are just straightforward. Like, I don't like you, I'm gonna bite you. I don't care, you know.
Yeah, it's like with people, they're everybody has some sort of ulterior motives, and I think it's because like we are kind of built in a way where I guess it also helps with an upbringing nobody knows like your upbringing because like when you meet somebody new, like you just assume that what they want is going to be surface level, but if you don't know who they are. They might want something else out of you, and like all this kind of thoughts spiraling around your head. You don't know, you just don't know. And I understand how it can be difficult to overthink human interactions. But
Yeah.
yeah, human interactions. But I think like a lot of people just. I think a lot of that will tends to go away with a lot of people when they are focused on going from point A to point B instead of wondering what the other person's point A and point B is. I think when you get over analytical and start seeing interactions between everybody as like a game of chess, that's when you can you can run a marathon with your own brain, and all you really needed to do is just take a walk to the fridge. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I kind of like learned this thing that this what I said was mostly how it used to be. Like, of course, I sometimes overthink stuff too much, but I just when I have to talk to people, not like when I have to talk to somebody on more of a personal level, but when I have to like ask for a bus ticket or something, I have this like auto mode when I just switch off and just go through the motion. Like I don't think at all. Just uh, the problem is when the person just interrupts me somehow. For example, the bus driver, when he asks something from me or something, then I'm like, then all of it is like stuck, and I'm like, what was I doing again? Or like, I get confused this way. But I'm getting better at this. But yeah, it's like
What
it
do you
was difficult.
what do you feel like this? Do you see this as a problem? And
Uh
even if it is a problem, where do you think it comes from?
well, I don't really see it as a problem. I see it more as because the I see it as a trade of some
Okay.
sort. I have received like really low stats on human interactions and stuff like that in general, but I have received a very good fantasy. Like I can imagine things. I can come up with really weird stuff that I just never really have seen anybody come up with, or like I just think different, and I think it's good for me as a mangaka because I just can present ideas and stuff that nobody really did, or present stuff how nobody would, you know?
Yeah, I get you. I get you. So, I guess this would be the final question of the night. How can people support your goal?
Well, I have to say that the best thing to do is probably to read it, and give it a shot. It's not for everybody. That's for sure. It's very. I wouldn't say it's too grim, but it's a little grim, and it's a little insensitive when it comes to the corpses, I would say. But I think it's good. You should give it a shot, and if you don't like it, you can tell me why.
Eh,
And I you can also like support me on Namikomi, because there is something like Patreon kind of thing. And I am building a Patreon and Buy Me a Coffee as well, but I am still kind of stuck on the rewards and stuff because I never really did these things. So yeah, there is not much to see there yet.
Yeah, like don't get discouraged about how grim your comic may be, because the first thing that came to mind was actually the come up of Death Note, because Death Note was the sort of the sore thumb of Shonen Jump at the time, because everybody was doing a lot of the shonen tropes you were talking about. But then there came Death Note that kind of had a heavy type of seinen vibe to it, but it was still like in all intents and purposes like a shonen without all the tropes with it. So I don't know if like what your demographic, what would you say your demographic of your manga would be?
I would say teen and up, probably like
Yeah.
late teens, like 16 plus, like something like the demographic of Dead Note would be. Maybe a bit older because of that it. I'm gonna say it. It's gonna get pretty messed up at the end, but that's all the spoilering I will do. But yeah, it's gonna be quite heavy, like heavier than Dead Note for sure.
Yeah, like it's gonna be fun. At least you like enjoy the process, enjoy like talking to people about it because it's something that you're interested in, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, anyway, this has been Drawing Solo. My name is Mace McKinney, and I'm with.
Midorijen.
Nice. And if you want to find out how to get inspiration from anywhere, make sure you sign up to my newsletter to get a free ebook that'll show you how to do so. My gift to you. Signing out.